I appreciate what Mr. Dignitary RFK is doing. I also appreciate our president, Mr. President Donald Trump. I've been concerned in times past that Mr. President Donald Trump may elevate the American people too high. I said in times past that I recommend him over Madam Kamala Harris because I know he has a deep and true love for the American people. That being said, as even somewhat prophetess celestial, who I do not represent and I do not want to even pretend to try to articulate for her, but it's my understanding that she has an understanding that he will at some point not operate on necessarily what is absolutely best for the American people. That being said, Mr. President is standing before the American people either now in real time as I say this or soon, and he is going to pronounce to the American people and make a formal declaration that it is Tylenol, the medicine. Tylenol is problematic in regards to outcomes for fetuses, for babies while they are gestating in their mother's wombs, possibly for older babies. I have not heard, especially if he is actually coming out with this declaration right now. That being said, I cannot say I was thinking to disagree vehemently, but then I realized how disingenuous and not necessarily that's just not the best way to move forward, because I haven't even heard what he is saying. So it's kind of not a good representation even for the Lord for me to speak on something when I haven't even heard what Mr. President has said, because I think he's actually saying it right now. So I will say this because I know that the Lord appreciates a honest, truthful, and excellent spirit. I will say, dear American people, I am so sorry. I am genuinely sorry. But even if Tylenol does play a factor in autism, I stand upon what I have said in the previous uploads that I've made, including some that I've erased from existence. That is this, that autism seems to be as a watcher that has watched and been very accurate over these years. It does not mean that this finding, due to the diligent work of Mr. President and RFK, who both two men I adore, it does not mean that there's not any truth and any credence to this finding, but I would caution you to not to run with this, because the American people, I feel, are being seduced right now in various ways. You see, people who are not favored, people who are not popular, people who do not have a dedicated following. When we say something, it's almost as if you choose not to want to believe us, even if we're telling the truth, the enemy is going to move heaven and earth to help you to not believe us, especially if we're telling the truth. I've said on more than one occasion that it seems to me, a watcher, that autism has some very real environmental as well as some nature and nurture factors, meaning that in a country, in a place where people are proud, where people are arrogant, where people are hateful, where people are spiteful, where people are presumptuous, where people are idolatrous, where people have habits that are not conducive to their own health or reproductive health, and also not conducive to a family health, a societal health, as well as the health of their neighbor, as well as the health of their own children. And such a society where African Americans have households where many are not wed, such as myself, including many live in sin, not such as myself. I repented long ago. But these certain trends continue on, where I say that some people seem to be more sensitive and therefore at risk. But I do insist that, at least I believe, I can't say as with a 100% of that's something only God can do, but I insist that there are many who are going to be diagnosed with autism among especially children, because children rely on adults. Many adults who are not living such lives perhaps that are ideal or best. With the environmental factors, I'm not going to make an hour-long video right now because I'm actually in the middle of something. I'm in the middle of homeschool. So with such environmental factors and a society that does not want to take accountability, see, therein lies the seduction. Because if a society does not want to be accountable due to pride, due to stubbornness, due to rebellion, the devil is going to do everything that he possibly can, including things that look righteous and wholesome, such as Mr. President and Mr. RFK truly wanting to get to the bottom of the autism issue, which is wholesome. But something can have wholesome intent and something can seem wholesome, but the root of it can be hijacked. Anything can be hijacked. And I promise you, the enemy, the devil, is hijacking many causes because people want to continue to sin. People want to continue to be in factions. People want to continue to strive. People want to continue to have power over other people. People want to continue to not acknowledge God for who he is. People want to continue to have personal biases. People don't want to accept accountability. If we said, okay, well, all the smoke that you walk through day by day, all of the cursing, all of the violence that you see in particular neighborhoods, all that factored in, all of the relationships, the turnover of relationships, especially in single women households, they don't want to come out and say that all that can be a factor for a sensitive person who could have possibly went through the rest of their life completely undiagnosed and completely healthy, always being a more sensitive person, yes, but who could have lived a healthy life. They don't even want to give that. And here's the problem, America. Here's the problem. Here's a question. If the cause was everything that you did not agree with and you did not want to believe, including about our own society, would you still accept it? The day that the answer becomes no is the proof of my video. When the person doing the research no longer wants to accept the truth, if they find something that is unflattering, it is untruthful, they are no longer in pursuit of truth. They're in pursuit of a pacifier to put in the mouth of the American people so that it can look like something is being done, even if they're being lied to. Even if Americans need to realize that your whole entire society is not conducive to proper child rearing. You have a whole entire society where the air quality is wretched, where the quality of the playgrounds are wretched, where the quality of the schools are wretched, where the quality of the laws and the enforcement of the laws so that they can have a good life are wretched. And until you come to the realization that American society is not a family-friendly society, until you come to the realization that certain practical things, common sense things, you ignore because it's not convenient, until you come to the realization that every person has to take personal responsibility, but then also we should be our brother's keeper and try to be as decent and as healthy as possible, because our health will impact somebody else and we're all not an island unto ourselves. Until America repents of all these things, she will continue to see children who were never designed by God. Children are not designed by God to be little robots. They're not designed by God to experience all of these societal ills and to come out robotic and perfect. We were all created to be in the Garden of Eden, and us throwing personal relationships that go nowhere, abusive relationships, relationships that are like revolving doors at these children, us throwing unstable family households, ripping them away from extended family for periods of time, us throwing divorces at them between mother and father, us not even having the father in the home, us having laws that don't truly support children, flirting with the idea of abortion, all these things, and I could name a million more. America, until you get real with yourself, you will continue most likely to see this problem because you are not at a place where your heart really wants the truth. And if you're willing to accept the lie, you're more close to the father of lies, who is the devil, than the father of the truth, who is God, even if you claim to be Christian. That's all I have to say on that in regards to that. Good day, people. Bye.